my name's Trista Patterson, and I'm here in personal capacity. So I'm representing myself. It's been a great experience, and I'm here because I was asked to present on a new toolkit for the green economy. And so I presented during the first day of the forum.
And as people won't have seen your speech, what was your toolkit, and what was the value of presenting it to this forum?
The toolkit focused on the idea that culture eats strategy for breakfast. We talk about the strategy of encouraging people to pay for ecosystem services without realizing that in order to get people to pay more, they have to make more, and that usually involves economic growth and then maybe the wholesale liquidation of the natural capital, and that causes loss of ecosystem services, which means that we have to pay more to save more. It's a negative feedback cycle that is disastrous, and it's threatening our life support systems. So I presented on some new ways to break out of that cycle.
And how did that go down? I mean, what feedback have you had?
I have been absolutely thrilled by the amount of creativity I've been approached with. As a presenter, you oftentimes put your ideas out there and are not sure if it makes an impact, but just to have so many people coming up to me and reminding me or telling me about their ideas, their stories, their experiences, neat things they'd like to try, it was very energizing. It really fed me as a person. It was wonderful.
Apart from the energy of the forum, were there any ideas or insights or experiences that are going to impact on the way you think?
I think in preparing for the talk, a very strong leverage point stood out to me, and it was repeated throughout the forum, and I think it's going to be increasingly valuable in the future, and that is the sheer power of adolescent girls with respect to poverty alleviation and the addressing of the loss of ecosystem services worldwide. And the reason why is because there are 600 million adolescent girls on the planet, and about a quarter of them in the developing world never go to school. And for each girl in a developing country that gets 7 years of school, she marries 4 years later. She has 2.2 fewer children. She makes between 15 and 25% more for every year of secondary school she attends. And that sum total, we're talking about a future where right now they just estimated world population for 2100 to be between 9 and 10 billion, as if we don't even care. The fact is we do care. It's major with respect to all of our ecosystem service goals. So if we were to invest in one place, adolescent girls, and all of the things that a girl could do, it's the single most powerful indicator of poverty alleviation and the conservation of ecosystem services is by increasing education for adolescent girls in the developing world. And I was really thrilled to see how many times that fact was repeated by members of the forum.
With loads of other benefits too. Mind you, that's one of the areas where I can see most resistance as well.
It's not part of the dominant mindset. You're right, and it's maybe marginalized. It's not a traditional way to think, but it's a systems way of thinking, which makes it very powerful. And again, when we're talking about the way that culture eats strategy, this is a cultural issue, and it means that if we invest there, it's one of the most secure investments we can make. It's a really powerful thing, and it's been powerful to see it performing here.
Have you got a highlight? Otherwise, another quote or a speech?
A song? Boy, the poetry, LeMay's poetry at the end brought me to tears. Absolutely wonderful. Just to hear, gosh, I wish I would have seen it before I gave my talk, to have such dynamic speakers and to be inspired by the style and the charisma and the strength of spirit that other people are bringing to their talks was wonderful, and it's something that I'll take away. I've learned a lot by watching the other speakers here.
It's also, on the. You can't imagine being in a better space to kind of bump up the contacts. But what was it like for you? Who did you meet that was interesting? And can you see any future relationships and work coming out of attending?
Yeah, absolutely. Um, well, first, I met so many colleagues that I've worked with virtually. You know, increasingly we're writing articles and papers and interacting virtually, and I've worked very closely with many of the people I've never met face to face before. So I travel increasingly rarely, so the chance to just see people in person is wonderful. The second thing is everyone is asking me how we can engage existing social media and new media networks in exchanging information and being able to reach out to audiences that normally wouldn't have access to this information. You know, it costs the climate, it costs the planet, and it costs us a lot to physically move ourselves around, but the more that we open source it, crowdsource it, generate excitement and creativity, I think that there's a lot of opportunity there. So I'm excited. One thing I'm taking away is the opportunity to capitalize on that with many of the members of the forum going forward.